very still.
I'm the king of dreams, ruler of the nightmare realm.
Hello, Dream.
Are you well?
So fellow Endless, Netflix Geeked Week is coming June 6th to 10th, in where they unveil all of what's to come for Netflix's future shows and movies, sneak peeks, you name it. And today, they've put out a new Netflix Geeked Week kind of sizzle reel trailer of all kinds of shows, but it gave us a lot more looks at The Sandman. And believe it or not, even with these brief glimpses, I've got quite a bit to say. Now, the last video I did was a little while back now, but I do recommend checking them out, especially if you're brand new to The Sandman, or if you've seen or heard of, or even read The Sandman a long time ago. It could give you a little bit of a refresher. My last one was breaking down our first look at episode 1, in where Netflix gave us that first teaser for the show, and that's more or less all we've had from Netflix, I believe back in September 2021 until now. So within this trailer, and there's a few parts of scattered footage throughout that Netflix sizzle reel, if you will, of all of the shows and movies they're hyping up soon. We will be getting a much further extended, like official trailer. But at the very beginning of this Netflix Geeked Week trailer, among other footage, we hear Tom Sturridge's voice saying, "Try and stay very still." And that's when we get a glimpse of Tom Sturridge as Dream of the Endless. Now, personally, I absolutely adore this casting. And in this moment, it's fairly likely that he has just arrived in the Dreaming after escaping the prison, of which we actually got a good look at Dream within Roderick Burgess's prison in our first footage back in September 2021. Again, done a whole breakdown video on that. I do recommend checking it out if you're not up to date, even though we will be recapping a couple of things within this video. Now, in the Sandman story, when Dream/Morpheus returned to the Dreaming, it was pretty wrecked, you could say, and in somewhat partial ruins. And that's somewhat what we seem to be getting glimpses at here in this trailer. And we did have a brief peek back at this in February, where Netflix released this kind of wider shot, if you will, of what seems to be this same scene in the trailer. And here you can see Lucien in this photo along with Dream looking at his realm after returning home for the first time in 105 years. Like, imagine spending 105 years in a little crystal freaking ball. Yeah. Here, just judging by the reaction and just, you know, Lucien being there, the head librarian of the Dreaming, it looks as though Tom Sturridge's Morpheus is just kind of looking at his castle, probably in a bunch of ruins, because during his absence in prison, everything pretty much suffered in his realm, and he just seems pretty devastated in this part, so I think we're gonna have to put it down to that scene. Now, I love the voice of Tom Sturridge's Dream, too, in where he says, "I'm the king of dreams, ruler of the nightmare realm." I always love this somewhat cadence, and kind of, it's almost like Tom Sturridge has got like a little bit of a voice modulator on whilst he's talking. Now, you could say, no, that's the show, but like, genuinely, he does have one of those unique voices, which not only do I feel like he is a spitting image of Dream, but I feel like that charismatic, you know, I feel like James McAvoy did a really good job in the Audible series as well. There's a command about those very vocal cords that are being used to emulate the character. And among that very quote that we just read out that was said in the trailer, we even get a quick teaser of Dream escaping his prison, in where Tom Sturridge, among all of that beaming light, appears really frail and thin, as Morpheus is depicted in the Sandman story. He's really paper thin. Now, without giving anything away here as to how Morpheus escapes his imprisonment, because of all the new fans who are looking forward to this series, and to be honest, as I always say as well, adaptations aren't copy and paste, so they may do it a slightly different way from that of what was on the pages. But within Dream's imprisonment and his little crystal ball, as I keep liking to call it, it also had somewhat this kind of circle of runes around it. It's kind of like this binding circle, and I believe we saw some of that featured in some of the early kind of behind the scenes footage that we got for the Netflix Sandman show, when they were just showing props and things like that. You're probably seeing it on screen. Well, that also helps bind him within that prison, and Alex Burgess, Roderick Burgess' son, of which we can't forget that Charles Dance is playing Roderick Burgess, which I feel like, again, is another amazing casting, which I'm so excited for this show. If you couldn't tell already, they both tried to talk to Dream over many decades that he was in prison, and let's just say that it could have something to do with all of that. And here we're seeing the aftermath in where Dream likely enters the minds of one of these people here who are likely the guards watching over Dream. Again, this is where things get interesting as to a part of his escape, and I can't wait to see how that's going to be done, but already we're getting amazing teasers within this trailer, and the visual effects look, again, what I'm so happy with is like they're mirroring very comic book scenes that you're probably seeing on screen, because towards the very end of this Geeked Week trailer, we get like a 1-second little extended part of this scene, and where, as I was just teasing, it's that adaptation of when Morpheus, Dream himself, breaks out of the crystal prison, and we literally get a rip from the comic book page of where he's like engulfed in that beaming light, and it kind of casts a silhouette over his body. Yeah, it just, I can't find words. I'm so happy seeing this. Now, I love in the next little mini clip that we're talking about now, even the trailer itself is really hyping up this show by saying, oh right, and the Sandman's coming. Trust me, you know, really trying to get you into like, okay, the Sandman, I may have heard of that, but like there's a show about it. But this is where we see Dream within his castle in the dreaming, and again, I keep referring to Dream as Dream. Morpheus is same person. Now at this point, it seems that Dream has his totems of power back, and if you know the story, without giving too much away, again, after Dream, Morpheus, gets out of his imprisonment, he basically goes on this journey to acquire his totems of power back. Now that's a pouch of sand, there's a ruby, there's his helm. But for those who really aren't familiar at all, basically this synopsis and little teaser of this series that was officially released should give you a little bit of better context as to what will be going on in the first season. So, the story follows Morpheus after he's escaped 105 years of imprisonment on Earth by occultist Roderick Burgess, Charles Dance, who, when attempting to capture Death in 1912, captured Dream instead. Upon his escape, Dream must reclaim 3 totems of his power: his pouch of sand, his helm, which looks like an elaborate gas mask, and a ruby, before he can reconstitute and rebuild the dilapidated dreaming world. So here, in this scene that you're seeing on screen, we can see that Morpheus is within his castle and is pouring sand from his sand pouch into his hand. So at this point, with this footage that they're teasing us, I'm guessing that it would be quite a few episodes in, as he would have already gone on that journey to retrieve the sand pouch, from which in the comics was from John Constantine, or at least, you know, he went to John Constantine, and then that started his own little mini adventure there. But interestingly, just in case you didn't know already, Netflix's Sandman is changing that character and part of the story to retrieving the pouch of sand from Johanna Constantine, played by none other than Jenna Coleman, which should be great news for quite a few Doctor Who fans. Now, it may not be great news for some people who get really annoyed at certain castings being gender flipped or whatever, but the situation surrounding Constantine and the use of that character is very much so somewhat up in the air, just in terms of what Sandman was even able to play with in terms of the character. After many fans first heard this news, and I was talking about it months and months back, of Jenna Coleman being cast as the ancestor of Constantine, people thought that when that was like the description, oh, John Constantine would be coming in the present day scenes maybe, or whatever's going on there. But Neil Gaiman has offered some clarity that she will indeed be playing both the 18th century version and present day Johanna Constantine version. So Gaiman said the right situation with John is certainly circumscribed right now, but the plan to have Lady Johanna and Johanna be in the story and played by the same person was there from the start. It seemed tidier, so it worked out. Now, the reason why, even if they wanted to, as Neil Gaiman is saying here, that maybe they didn't, because apparently it was the plan from the start to have Lady Johanna and Johanna as both versions of the character played by Jenna Coleman, is that we've also got an HBO Max Constantine whole reboot series coming. Like, start from the scratch. He's actually playing such a newbie warlock in terms of where he's just thrust into this magical world, and he's not even like the pro John Constantine warlock that we know. Now, if you want to know more about that, interestingly, I did a video not so long ago on everything we know so far about this HBO Max live-action Constantine series, so I do recommend checking that out. All of these videos I keep plugging will be linked in the description or in the end card of this video, but that's coming from Bad Robot Productions, so either way, bottom line on this, they're already licensing and using that character in another HBO Max kind of show thing, so Netflix, even though they're saying that they wanted to use Johanna, probably couldn't use him anyway. But back on point here, as per the footage that we got in this trailer, is that it could be that Dream is revitalizing and rebuilding the Dreaming here after what we already went over upon his return, in that it was in shambles due to his absence. And just the difference is from what he was looking at, at his castle devastated initially, now he's geared up. And to speak of geared up, we see Dream himself literally geared up in all of his totems. Everything's accounted for. And I've got a feeling that might be beyond potentially episode 6 when we're seeing that. Now, after that, guys, we get a little title screen, somewhat logo, if you will, of the Sandman that you're seeing on screen. And we see Dream standing there, and we see that he has his helm at this part. Now, this is also really interesting because, as we've already been talking about, Dream goes on his journey to regain his totems of power after escaping the crystal prison, and we've spoken about how he gets his pouch of sand from Constantine, or Johanna Constantine in this case, but as far as his helm is concerned, well, good old Dream, Morpheus, needs to go down on a trip to hell to meet with Lucifer, of which is also teased at the very end of this trailer, and has kind of got my hype levels through the roof because I love it, and their adaptation from this of the Sandman pages, hell, it looks crazy. So Netflix literally reserved the very end of this Geeked Week trailer to do a mic drop moment with Lucifer, as with at this part, as I've already teased, Dream has gone to hell, and it's like, where's my helmet? Come on, where is it? Where's my little gas mask, frickin' bone, skeleton-y kind of helmet? Give it to me. Now, this is where, if you're already familiar, they're doing the Hope in Hell story. So what we're talking about now with Gwendoline Christie's Lucifer, Dream going there, after likely having already gone through the Johanna Constantine sand pouch part, goes to hell. Season 1 goes all the way to the end of the Doll's House story as well, just to kind of give you a broader context of the pacing of the series and episodes versus that of the stories in The Sandman. Now again, I don't want to give away what the whole Hope in Hell storyline is about, as it's fairly key for Dream to get his helm back from Hell. But I love this live-action adaptation of Hell, at least from what these very brief few seconds teasers were. Here we see the sea of souls within Hell, all of the bodies. It's just like a pit of figures and figures and figures going back as far as the eye can see, and we see Lucifer and Dream look down upon them. Now, interestingly, if you look a little bit closer, we see Lucifer in the middle there, Dream to the side, and I think that could be Mazikeen there. And I say that just because from what we can tell, maybe I'm brightening this image up in the editing, but we can see like half the face is scorched, and you can see half the hair is going down like that. Now that is a spitting image, even though it's kind of from far away, of Mazikeen from the comics. The imagery of Lucifer behind this flame, the wings, the gown, if you will, the hair is spot on, again, spitting from the page. We hear Lucifer say, "Hello, Dream, are you well?" Now, if you're not new here, you'd already know that Gwendoline Christie was cast as Lucifer in this Sandman show. But if you are new here, you might be like, wait, what? Why have they gender flipped Lucifer? Wait, what's going on there? Which tends to be the response. Now, personally to me, before I get into the explanation for that and why it actually works within lore, believe it or not, I know a lot of people don't like to see that side of things and just see gender flip, but like seriously, it does actually work. I think Gwendoline Christie is a great actor, and not only that, she really, really, really looks good as the Sandman's Lucifer. This accuracy of her portrayal and the innovation of just kind of the environment of Hell personally makes me very happy as Hell. That doesn't really make sense because Hell isn't really a happy place. It just looks very impressive to me. Now, onto this whole explanation, just in case I get some wave of viewers being like, wait, what's going on here? The reason why gender flipping works with Lucifer, at least on the surface gender flipping, and this is where it comes into the actual lore reason, because angels don't really adhere, or should I just say there's a lack of gender to such beings. The same applies for otherworldly beings within what was Vertigo Comics and, you know, the endless, you know, dream, death, desire. They don't really have gender. It's just however they may appear in a mortal form. But that doesn't make them human. Angels aren't human. The endless aren't human. And thus, appearance is actually a choice. Again, I just feel like I'm repeating myself just in different descriptions of the same thing. Angels in the lore of this world, again, you may say in the comic book, Lucifer looks like a man, and even refers to the pronoun of he, but sometimes even we. So again, just to put on the bottom line, Lucifer appearing as Gwendoline Christie IRL real life mode works completely fine. Like, it really, really does. Now, again, people might be like, wait, what? But what about the Lucifer show? Tom Ellis was, like, again, I love Lucifer. I covered it on this channel. I loved that show, the cast. Mwah. Like, seriously, I really mean that. However, Lucifer couldn't be any more not comic accurate. It wasn't remotely comic accurate to that of Lucifer, the character from the Sandman comics. And that's fine. It was its own cool little thing. It was great. It was entertaining. But Tom Ellis's Lucifer, albeit that occasionally here and there they would put a little dribble-drabble of lore, honestly couldn't be further away from what actually Lucifer is, and that is what you're seeing right in front of you right now, Gwendoline Christie's Lucifer. And also, for what it's worth, in the words of Neil Gaiman himself, as I was making this video right now, today, said this to a person tweeting about Lucifer, "Not my Lucifer," and he replied, "Not my problem." Again, to me, if Neil Gaiman is happy, and he is literally the creator of the story, not only is he happy, but Gwendoline Christie's casting works within the literal lore of angels and beings such as that within the Sandman universe. I think those who are getting really mad about it as a result of that need to chill out a bit, because, again, it works. So guys, that is more or less everything there is to say about the little teasers that we got today. I know I spoke quite a while about it, but I just wanted to go over these scenes, recap some stuff about the series that we know, offer in what's going on to those who may not very much so know about the storyline, what Dream does, going on a little bit of a journey to get his, you know, totems of power, who he runs into, Joanna Constantine. So it's a bit of a recap plus new details breakdown. Obviously, we are going to get a proper trailer as of June 6th. Netflix are going from June 6th to June 10th, I believe. It's like a 4-day showcase, which is pretty insane. I feel like they could condense that down, you know, into like a day reveal, but apparently not. But hey, you know, maybe that means more Sandman footage. Plus, I'm really looking forward to Boyd Holbrook as the Corinthian, of which Neil Gaiman basically gave away that we are getting a teaser of him in the teaser trailer, because somebody asked, are we going to see some of him soon? He's like, oh yes, yes. So we are getting that, so subscribe to the channel for anything Neil Gaiman's, Netflix's The Sandman show related. Updates, trailer breakdowns, episode reviews, you name it. I'm going to be here for it. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, a like goes a long way. Hit that thumbs up button, takes 2 seconds. And also, of course, let me know your thoughts on what I had to say today and this brand new footage of The Sandman. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow Endless out there, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day. And I'll see you Endless in the next video. Goodbye.